Hello and welcome. I'm Tommaso Ridani and this is Story Scanner. The stories everybody is talking about in a way nobody is. A podcast based on the stories headlining Via Sarfatti 25, the magazine from Bocconi University, with analysis and insights from Bocconi professors and researchers on the big topics in business, management, data science and politics. In this episode, we take a look at the megatrends of the future impacting the post-pandemic world. How will the new normal look? The economy, politics, healthcare, work, so many aspects of our society have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. And in the post-pandemic recovery, this new world will be interacting with pre-existing forces that were already impacting on our society, such as the geopolitical shift in the global economy, climate change, digital transformation, new political forces. And so our society has to be ready to face these challenges and changes, to transform and adapt. Looking at the economy, a multi-speed economic recovery is underway, reflecting the significant cross-country variations in containing the coronavirus and administering vaccines. For investors, policymakers, businesses and households alike, a major question is whether and to what growth patterns we will return. If we will witness a shift to some markedly different set of dynamics in the economy, and which industries seem poised for major rapid growth. And the economy and society as a whole faces another megatrend, digital transformation, a force that has been reshaping our lives since the end of the 90s, but whose real impact and potential has only been really understood during the pandemic. And the EU has made digital transformation one of the pillars of the Next Generation Fund. But what should we expect from future investment in digital transformation across all sectors and geographies? Analysing the global economy, Professor Michael Spence, Nobel Prize in Economics in 2001 and Professor of Economics at Bocconi, has some clear ideas on where we should look for growth in the coming years.
While there are many areas of uncertainty in the post-recovery economy, some industries seem poised for a period of extraordinarily rapid growth. Specifically, in sectors with a combination of technological possibilities, available capital, and high demand for creative new solutions, conditions will be highly favorable for investment and new company formation. Among the broad sectors with the greatest growth potential, my three leading candidates are the application of digital technologies across the entire economy, biomedical science and its applications in healthcare and beyond, and technologies that address the various challenges to sustainability, especially those associated with climate change. Elevated growth in this context means not just sector growth, but high levels of entrepreneurial activity and innovation, a plethora of new fast-growing companies, and large inflows of capital carrying high expected rates of return. These areas are distinct but overlapping, because they are defined more by science and technologies than by outputs. All three are viewed as key sources of resilience for businesses and for society as a whole, and that perception has been reinforced by the pandemic and growing awareness of the effects of climate change. Between this changing outlook and the forced adoption of digital technologies during the pandemic, there is now a heightened awareness of both the opportunity and the necessity of digitalization, which is reflected in high and rising demand for technological solutions.
As Professor Spence mentions, for sure, digital transformation will have a big impact on the post-pandemic economy, now that the actual impact on most sectors of the economy and its potential for future economic growth has been fully acknowledged during the pandemic. Professor Gianmario Verona, rector of Bocconi University, studies digital transformation and believes the future is hybrid, with digital technologies complementing traditional analog technologies and data driving organizations towards innovations that markets want. He gives us his outlook on the potential impact of technology on the upcoming future.
Digital transformation is a slow process that originated with the diffusion of the World Wide Web made available to everyone in 1993. From then on, a series of crucial developments and innovations related to the miniaturization of computing devices has opened the door to a brand new industrial revolution. The pandemic has made all people aware of the importance of digital tools in allowing life to continue during the long lockdown that characterized 2020 and the first semester of 2021 in most parts of the world. And it has given us a clear idea of the relevance of digital transformation to our lives in the future, which will increasingly be a combination of the physical and the digital. Digital tools can now be used to redesign core industrial processes with each sectors of the economy and to rethink transactions in the global village. Big and small data are in fact a new form of electricity that transmits intelligence to machine and empowers connections between industries and society. From Australia to North America, and from the production of raw materials to the distribution of consumer goods, data represents the new fuel to move the global economy. And although we have been speaking for some years about open innovation, the pandemic forced us to share life science data massively to reduce the production time of a brand new vaccine from 8 years to 10 months. It is not simple to digitize the economy without clear incentives that change the behavior of organizations and individuals. But the pandemic, with its massive lockdown, forced people in every corner of the world to appreciate the importance of digital transformation and to deep dive into it.
In Europe, a big part will be played by the EU's Next Generation Fund, the financial plan that aims to support all the member states to push and finalise, among other things, digital transformation, as explains Professor Verona.
From the viewpoint of citizens and consumers, our life has been literally transformed, and the pandemic has further boosted this transformation. Nonetheless, from the supply side, there's still a long journey to travel. Modern corporations have been conceived during the Industrial Revolution of electricity and still require much changes across most sectors of the economy. And before the pandemic, it was particularly US and China that were populated by digital giants able to boost digital transformation, with Europe playing instead in defense with important regulation like the data protection regulation, but with limited innovations in corporations and institutions. With the Next Generation EU plan, Europe is now taking the lead on digital transformation. As they say, the devil is in the detail of the execution of important plans like Next Generation EU. But for sure, we have now a crucial platform to boost digital technology in our society and improve our future lives. We have to aim to a more sustainable and more connected Europe after 2026, and for this goal, 3 fundamental pillars will be crucial. A true European cloud, protected and interoperable, pursuing the Digital Compass 2030, and training current and future generation with more STEM.
Investment and development programs like Next Generation EU will play a big part in boosting growth in post-pandemic world, agrees Professor Spence.
In short, the systems that unleash entrepreneurial talent are increasingly taking root around the world. This is partly because governments have recognized the opportunities in these sectors and duly stepped up their game. The fiscal programs coming out of the pandemic have been far more aggressive than in the past. Commitments to invest in infrastructure, including digital, science, and technology, are expanding, not just in the United States and China, but also in Europe, across the digital, biomedical, and green tech sectors. Moreover, policymakers seem to understand that deficient demand has negative effects not only on employment, but also on the incentives for adopting new technologies. Most governments thus are eager to ensure that the economy is running at high intensity without demand-side headwinds holding back growth and employment.
On a concluding note, Professor Spence has a positive outlook for post-pandemic recovery.
Powerful digital tools now widely available for solving a huge range of problems will spread throughout the global economy. Entrepreneurs, growth companies, and supportive innovative ecosystems will lead the charge. Different from the past, where innovation ecosystems tended to be geographically concentrated, these new systems will be global in scope and impact. The potential for expanded, inclusive growth patterns is very real. From e-commerce to mobile payments and fintech, to health and education, there is the potential to level the playing field with respect to access to key services. And we seem to have finally turned the corner in terms of global commitment to live within planetary boundaries. So now the great challenge is to create the solutions. For those who wish to exercise their creative potential in contributing to solving social, environmental, human development, and welfare challenges, there has probably never been a better time to begin the journey.
I hope you enjoyed hearing more about some of the megatrends that will be shaping and driving our future. You can read more in the new issue of Via Sarfatti 25 magazine, with opinion, research and insights from Bocconi professors and researchers. In the magazine, or directly on Bocconi's YouTube channel, you can find 5 masterclass videos Bocconi professors have produced on these megatrends. In their masterclasses, Professor Verona dialogues with Vittorio Colau, Italy's Minister for Innovation and Digital Transition, and Professor Spence with Fred Hugh, Chairman and Founder of Primavera Capital Group. The videos will also be published on various Financial Times channels with whom Bocconi collaborates on the FTX Bocconi Challenge competition. Applications are now open to the 3rd edition of the challenge, which will see university students and young professionals from all over the world called upon to develop innovative ideas for today's hybrid world, keeping in mind these megatrends. I'm Tommaso Eridani, and I hope you'll join me again for the next episode of Story Scanner.